Welcome to this new series I have called Fantasy Sports Advice. This will be on fantasy basketball advice. It will be on drafting in keeper leagues. As I said before, this episode is on drafting in keeper leagues. Drafting in keeper leagues is different than drafting in a normal non-keeper league. First, I will be giving out some pointers on choosing keepers. You want to pick players that are on the younger side and have a higher potential. You don't want to choose old, washed up players that have a lower potential because they could decline and their production could drop. You also want to keep your first two picks in the draft because I assume that if you're picking players in keeper leagues that you want or know that you're in a keeper league, that you pick proven players in the draft. You should not keep players that have a breakout year and have not proven that they have been able to produce consistently. The keepers you choose should be reliable go-to players on their respective teams. Now, I have covered selecting keepers for your team. I'll talk about the draft strategy. Unlike drafting in the regular fantasy draft, you don't have an empty roster. Drafting in the keeper league requires you to fill out your roster to best fit your keeper roster. So you'll already have a core foundation of your team. So it's like in a regular draft, you already have your players in the roster. You just want to round out the roster. Rather than trying to find new players to assemble, you are trying to find players to best fit the roster, like I said before. When drafting in the keeper league, you tend to want to draft younger players because they have a higher potential than the older players. Older players tend to drop off in their level of play because in basketball, it's a young man's sport. You want to get the young studs, and you tend to want to get centers early in the drafts as well, because centers really go early. It's important to get at least one good big man, or not at least two. It's important to have one big man because if you get just outmatched in blocks and rebounds, then you're going to lose most of your categories. The general rule of thumb in drafting in keeper leagues is to get dependable players, but do not be afraid to take risks. So that's my advice on drafting in keeper leagues for fantasy basketball. Next episode, I will be talking about general drafting strategies in fantasy basketball.